Hey everybody, it's Coach Jason. Hope you're doing well. I want to talk about today my recommended training volumes for boys and girls in high school, men and women in college. Okay, now ultimately as a coach or an athlete, it's up to you. But this is generally from 20 plus years experience being a former competitor and a current coach, and I've coached at high school, college, and post college levels as to what volume ranges work really well. For the most part. And again, everybody has individualized needs. You'll see people that or have athletes or coach athletes that need a little bit more or a little bit less, and that's okay. But these are generally good volume ranges that give you a template of what to follow, and you'll see that they're consistent with the training programs that I put forth. And I've put fully detailed training programs from 5K all the way up to the marathon. And now I've just started putting training programs for middle distance as well, mile, 2 mile. My next video after this, I'm going to put a training program out for 800-meter runners who can move up to the mile and also run the 400 as well. Fully detailed, like all my other training programs. So if you're a coach or an athlete and you want to just review and look at and digest a lot of good training information, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the notification next to it. And take a look at the videos that I put out and be on the lookout for videos I'm going to be putting out. Okay, and again, if you're new to this channel, welcome, and I hope this is a channel that you find to be a good channel that's going to be very helpful to you. If you do, please hit the thumbs up either way. The thumbs up helps YouTube filter it through its algorithm and filter and communicate or promote the video outwards, because my goal is to share my videos, my training programs with as many folks in the running community as possible. So if you know folks in the running community you think might like this, please share it with them as well. But really, hit the thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. So with that, let's get to this, okay? Let's start high school first. Ninth grade, generally, and these are volumes that you're building up towards, okay? My recommendation for girls, ninth grade, is about 28 to 30 miles, okay? So it's about 4 miles a day. That doesn't necessarily have to mean 4 miles every single day. It also doesn't mean they have to run 7 days a week. They run 6 days a week, then it's an average of 5 miles a day. Okay, it really depends on what your training program looks like, or what you prefer. You can take a look at my training programs and see how I lay them out, and you can see how the volume kind of lays out, and you'll see the average with an off day in there, another off day, or a non-off day. I generally have 14-day training cycles, whereas an off day every 14 days. Okay, so you'll see how it's laid out. On the other side, the boys who generally can handle physically a little bit more volume. 30 to 32 miles, not much more. But again, it's an average of about 4 to 5 miles a day. Okay, at the freshman level, I like to start them easy. Some folks go a little higher, and that's okay. But you can still do a 6 mile long run, which will be plenty sufficient for a freshman, I think, and for which is 20% of the 30 miles. And you can do a 6 mile long run for the girls as well, which is 20% of the weekly volume if you're running 30 miles a week. Okay, 10th grade. I bumped them up to about 34 to 38 miles, okay? It's not a ton, but if you average 5 miles more per day, or even upwards of 8 miles more per day, which is almost 25% of an increase, but again, that's a year later, okay? It gives them a chance to adapt, and if you're keeping consistent with the volume, and the reason why I have off days every other week is to allow for recovery, so you're not having to constantly go up and up and up and then drop, or go up and up and up and then drop. It allows the athletes to adapt to a new level of training volume, okay? It's one reason I do that, all right? On the boys' side, 36 to 42 miles. Again, it's a template. You can go up, you can go down. I know folks that do both, okay? And again, if you look at it here, let's say 40 miles a week, or 38, 40 miles a week, that's an average of about 6 miles a day or 7 miles a day. So, and about 8 miles would be the 20% of the weekly volume if you're running 40, so that can be the long run. So long run could be 6, could be 8, could be 10, could be 12 as you go on, as you increase volume, as long as the athletes can handle it, okay? And then again, that's middle distance and distance. So I encourage middle distance runners also to have, even if they're half miles, to have good solid aerobic foundation, a good solid long run, and a good I call it baking the cake, okay? The workouts are generally the frosting and all the other things. Baking the cake is the aerobic foundation. You want to have as big of a cake as possible, okay? 11th grade, junior year, 42 to 46 miles for the girls, 46 to 50 miles for the boys. Again, the low end is generally the high end. So there's not much of a difference between the boys and the girls, particularly in high school, because they're still growing. They're still, undergoing growth spurts, puberty. Girls, the differences with the menstrual cycles, the differences that they go through that boys do not. Those things have to be taken into consideration. Academic load has to be taken into consideration. Okay, I'm not a proponent of overworking athletes. I would rather have athletes do more with less than less with more. Okay, and in 12th grade, senior year, about 50 to 54 miles for the girls and 56 to 60 for the boys. Okay, even if it was 30, 40, 50, 60, 20, 30, 40, 50, or 25, 35, 45, 55, whatever you want to do, and if you want to aim at the same number. But these are good pace ranges that I've utilized. It also allows you to have a good long run, a good intermediate run, and plug in an off day every other week if you need to. I like to do it, but it's completely up to you. Especially for high school kids, I want them to have a life as well. This is my recommended training volume for high school boys and girls. I have utilized this, or to this degree, or these ranges for several years with a lot of success. And transitioning over to college now, generally my philosophy is the high end of your training program as a senior in high school should generally be the high end of your training program your freshman year. If you can essentially repeat what you did as a senior as a freshman in college, adapting to a whole new training schedule, on a whole new way of doing things, where time management becomes much more important because you're not having your thing. There's no consistency in college. Your classes are here and there, and it's up to you to show up to them and do the work. So it's a different life in college. So time management is, if you learn that early on, you're going to be in good shape. Okay, and again, you don't have a lot of people doing your homework for you. A lot of people babysitting you like they do in college. Like they do in high school. College is a different world, but keep that in mind too. So I have two different ranges here. I'm gonna go. I'll explain them. Okay, like I said, 50 to 54, generally around there. 54 is the low end. 50 is the high end there. So if they're matching what they did as a senior or increasing slightly, that's a good year. Because again, you're generally, especially if you're going from one of the top three in high school to not one of the top three in college, if you could be on the back end, you have to adapt to training paces. They're going to be faster. Just runs. Everything's going to be faster and more intense in college. And the races are going to be longer, so you're going to need that year to adapt. Okay? And again, this is an average of 9 miles a day. You'll see 9, 10, 11, and 12 per day. For women, 10, 11, 12, and 13 a day per men. If you want a numerical average, okay, on the right-hand side. Left-hand side would just be pace ranges. So 45 to 50 for women, 55 to 60 for men, okay? It's a good training volume, even though the races are going up from 5K to 6K and 5K to 8K, and in some cases 10K. I'm not a proponent of overwhelming freshman athletes. Again, some people might do more. That's fine if they can handle it. If the coach recommends it, that's up to them. But I'm a fan of matching or only slightly doing more than what you did as a senior as a freshman in college. Sophomore year in college, the women I bump up to 55 to 60, the men to 65 to 70. Okay, and I'm also a component of the long runs for women being 10, 12, 14, and 16. So 10 as a freshman, 12 as a sophomore, 14 as a junior, 16 as a senior, or sometimes a little bit more in certain cases. And on the men's side, 12 as a freshman, 14 as a sophomore, 16 as a junior, 18 as a senior. Okay? Again, some need more, some need less. So that's just basic numbers for me. But again, 55 to 60 for women sophomores, 65 to 70 for the men, okay, which comes out to about an average of 10 miles a day for a 7-day week. All right? For a 6-day week, it's a little different. But I'll also say this, and I'm gonna put a video down below of how to set your training volume for the week. Okay, the purpose of the off day is the off day. So if you're running 70 in a 7-day week, that doesn't mean run 70 the day of the week after where it's a 6-day week. Okay, you're going to be averaging more. It negates the purpose of the off day. So you run 60 the week after. If you're averaging 10 a day in a 7-day week, you average the same on the week where you have an off day. So it's 60. Okay, you do not have to add to try to make up for the day off. That defeats the purpose of the off day. Okay, so keep that in mind too. All right. Junior year, I bumped the women up to 65 and 70, bumped the men up to 75 and 80, 75 to 80 miles. They're adapting to it, and some need more, some need less. Middle distance runners, your middle distance runners could be on the low end, could be on this side. You could have your half milers and milers could be running 60 miles a week, and that's a good amount for them. Okay, really depends on your athlete's needs and what they can handle. Okay, and what they respond best to. And that's where the fascination of the science behind coaching comes into play. And senior year, I bumped the women up to 75 to 80, and the men up to 85 to 90. Okay, and again, the 16-mile long run being 20% of the 80, the 18-mile long run being 20% of the 90. Okay. And the range here, if you want 90, 91 is 13 miles a day, 84 is 12 miles a day, 77, 11 a day, 70, 10 a day. If you want a numerical number, again here, 84 is 12 a day, 77, 11 a day, 70, 10 a day, 63, 9 per day. If you want a numerical, if that's what works better for you as a coach, that's what you go with. But either range is good. And the ranges get a little bit more substantial in college. Because the races get longer, the training volume is going to be longer. Plus, your athletes will be more experienced and a little bit older, and they've come into their body. Puberty's kind of over now for the most part, and they can handle more intense training. So, here are my recommended training volumes. Let me know what you think. Again, I shuffle them. I do more for some, less for some. It really depends. There's individualized components, but this is a good template that you can use to follow for your athletes or for yourself. If you enjoyed this, please hit the thumbs up. And again, if you're a runner or coach and you want to learn good training videos and stuff like this, hit that thumbs up, okay? And hit the subscribe button as well. The thumbs up helps YouTube filter through its algorithm, so it's really, really helpful with YouTube if you hit the thumbs up, so please do that. Subscribing helps the channel grow, okay? Hitting the notifications is only going to help your knowledge, okay? Watching the videos in the channel and the description down below is going to help you your knowledge and become a better athlete and a coach. That's my goal, is to help as many people in the running community as possible. I want to give back what I've learned over 20 plus years as a former competitor and a coach now. So get that. With that, I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed it, again, please hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and be safe out there. Okay, just train smart, train hard, look out for each other. Talk to you soon.